Jonathan here. This is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and that's kind of surreal to say out loud. There's gonna be no fancy reveal towards the end of the video. Straight up, this video was shot on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and are you kidding me? Now, this video is more than likely gonna be different than anything else you stumble across regarding this new phone, simply because of where I'm coming from. A little over a year ago, I uploaded what I thought was most likely going to be my last video ever. The mental side, I think, has been equally as challenging, if not more, just because it's kind of always there. If you caught my most recent video, that explains the roller coaster of the last 2 years of my life. If not, I'll drop a link up here and down below. But the condensed version is I got shingles, which got into my eye, caused pretty significant scarring, and led to vision loss, which was fun on its own, but on top of that, there ended up being nerve damage and either enough neuroinflammation to cause brain trauma or a mini stroke at some point during all of it, because even to this moment right now, my eyes still have a hard time talking to my brain. So I'm not out of the woods by any means, but I'm working on this relentlessly every single day. For those that have hopped over onto Patreon to support, I'm gonna have probably a more detailed health update there. So if you wanna check that out and hop on board as well, that is also linked down below. But today we're talking about the new iPhone. Now, because the internet, before anyone jumps to the keyboard and is like, whoa, 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 how is the iPhone 16 Pro Max life-changing? It just came out. The reason I say that is because the 15 Pro Max was life-changing for me. It's a little ironic because I didn't think I'd ever be on a Max phone. I've been pretty vocal in the past about appreciating smaller phones and the 12 mini and the 13 mini and wishing that was more a thing. But because of the health journey and the eye problems, a bigger screen made sense. So fast forward to now, that same logic applies to the 16 Pro Max, and going from 6.7 inches to 6.9 with things being relatively the same form factor, that to me is a plus. I will absolutely have a more in-depth traditional tech review dropping on this over the next couple of days. So if you have any questions or there's anything you want covered, definitely drop a comment down below. But in the meantime, if you clicked on this video and you want to take something away, kind of my mini review is, if you're coming from a 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max, is it the biggest upgrade in the world? No. Do you have to upgrade? Absolutely not. But if you're coming from a 14 Pro or anything earlier, super heck yes. Truthfully, the only reason I upgraded to the 15 Pro Max is because my 14 Pro was in shambles. And mind you, this was months later. Because of the state that I was in, not being able to watch TV or look at a screen or open my computer, the 15 Pro Max became my computer. It was the only device that I used. One of the harder things to talk about is during the darkest period, there is this 3-month gap in my camera roll. It's just empty. And that was during the point where I didn't see an end. I didn't think I'd ever make a video again. It just felt hopeless, so I didn't capture anything. I briefly talked about it, but the reason I started recording everything wasn't to make a video. I was recording things simply just so I could have something to look back and remember, because during the worst of it, there were just huge gaps that were just gone in memory. I could look at a photo or a video and not remember it, but at least I would have that reference so I could know what therapy to do or what the answer to this was. And it just became something I just did every day. You know, one of the heaviest moments for me throughout this journey and getting back into shooting video and using the iPhone as a camera actually came out of nowhere. I was at a doctor's appointment and randomly ran into this guy, Lennon, who was really into cameras. He noticed that I was shooting some video. We ended up chatting and hitting it off, and out of nowhere, just decided to shoot something. It was his wife's birthday that weekend, so we decided to shoot something for his wife, a message that he could give her. And towards the end, he kind of just broke me.
And all the little things in between that make me smile because of all the hope that people bring. And probably to answer your question earlier, why I found this so fascinating is because I saw the hope that it brought to you. And I'm happy to be part of that, even if I could be there just to observe it.
Yeah, I just didn't have the hope for a while. And that's why I keep saying, like, even though I have some pretty shitty days still, um, it's just so much better than it was. And like you said, just I hope that I can be 100%. I know you said things of like, oh man, like I feel bad if you set up this light and we don't get anything out of it. Um, but it's like I didn't get to do that for a long time, and so it was cool because like I see a little bit of me with you and like how you get excited over a shot. Like I'll get excited and I'll get fired up, and um, yeah. So thank you.
I think that's a wrap.
You got me, dude. I still really can't put it into words how hard the last year was. Like the 2 years was hard, but the last year specifically. And I think going from this place where you don't see any lights or you don't think you're going to shoot something ever again, just to be able to do that is such a gratifying experience. It's no secret I'm an Apple fan. I use an iPhone, I use a Mac, I'm in Final Cut, I use Logic Pro. It's just kind of innately part of me, and I've accepted that. During this whole couple year battle, especially this last year, it almost felt like everything I ever hoped and wanted out of Apple happened to come into existence, starting with Vision Pro and how excited I was with that for spatial audio, spatial video. And then it's like that Twilight Zone episode where the guy who just wants to read has all the time and breaks his glasses. And in this case, I can't use Vision Pro because my brain doesn't fuse images properly. I have to wear hard contact lenses, which aren't officially supported. And it was just almost this torturous thing. Then let's talk about iPhone 15 Pro, whether it's Max or regular or iOS 17. I remember trying to absorb the keynote or the announcement and it just didn't make sense. But I knew, hey, there was USB-C, there was ProRes, there was log, all these things that I had dreamt about, and I can't even use them or take advantage of them. As I started to make a little bit of progress and dive a little bit more back into the tech side of things, got to mess around with the Blackmagic camera app and then discover there's these LUTs that emulate an Arri look, and then that changed things forever. I'm not going to be an idiot and say that an Arri or a Red or a Sony or a bigger sensor doesn't look better than this, because it absolutely does. But as much as I've been an advocate of the iPhone and used it in the past, it's different now. It looks like a cinema camera. I think from there then comes in the intangible things, or in sports, the things you don't see on the stat sheet that really makes the iPhone special for me. The whole saying the best camera is the one you have on you is true to an extent, but it also has to look good. I think specifically getting back to those intangibles, what makes the 15 Pro Max so special to me is, one, the display. If you've worked in film or with a camera, most cameras don't have anything close built in, and you have to go buy a small HD or an Atomos. And to get something of that quality, you're spending $800 to $2,000. So the fact that you have that on the camera at all times is incredible. Next, let's talk about storage. It's built into the phone, so you're not worrying, did I remember to wipe the SD card? Did I remember the SD card or the CF Express card? It's just there. From there, batteries. You don't have to worry about, did I remember to charge the batteries last night and now I have to wait an extra bit of time. If your phone is charged, your camera is charged. So while I am thankful, and Austin and everybody in the community that pitched in and got the Sony, I think I still want to shoot on iPhone, just because, one, it's a challenge. Two, this is the worst it'll ever be, which is scary and exciting. And I think ultimately, outside of even those intangible things, what the iPhone does is it gives you this level of intimacy and comfort that you wouldn't normally get with a camera. Because if you have a giant rig or anything in front of you, that just shuts people down because they're not as comfortable. So you can get in there, you can talk, you can have these conversations. And that's been one thing I've been huge on. Documentary work, somehow, some way, I've started shooting multiple documentaries on the iPhone, from a Breaking Bad store in New Mexico to my own story to a documentary on Sam Ash music stores closing down after 100 years, and I'm doing it all on iPhone.
It just seemed like the people that I met behind the scenes at Sam Ash were real people that cared about people, not just cared about money. They cared about quality of product. They wanted to make sure you understood the product, knew how to use it, and got a good deal for your dollar.
So to me, if that jump from the 14 Pro to the 15 Pro was worth it, the 16 Pro is everything that was great about the 15 Pro, but better. As far as what's new and noteworthy with the 16 Pro lineup, there is now a 48 megapixel ultra wide sensor, which is absolutely welcomed. I definitely got to dive a little bit deeper and A/B it next to the 15 Pro, but just messing with it for video, it does seem to perform better, which for me is a huge bonus because there's some pretty ridiculous stuff you can do with the ultra wide. 4K 120 for that slow motion goodness is something that film nerds have been talking about for years. That is finally here. And for myself, someone who is a film nerd, but also an audio and music nerd, I have thoroughly enjoyed the audio mix features.
You'll be on my mind forever.
So jumping back to focal lengths, that's actually a nice upgrade with the 16 Pro lineup this time around. Whereas before with the 15 Pro or the 15 Pro Max, you had to choose if you wanted the 5x lens. Now it's here on both, and you just have to choose, do I want a bigger phone, screen, and battery, because the cameras are the same. Camera control, definitely don't call it a button. It's kind of a button is interesting. I think a lot of people are going to rip on it and immediately write it off, but I actually do see some potential value here. Is it needed? Time will tell, but in terms of how they executed it, it's actually really well done. Photographic styles is something I'm really excited to use more and more, but honestly, just the fact that there is now a natural profile alone, for me, that is huge. One thing I will say with the 15 Pro Max experience is it wasn't perfect by any means. Something it did a lot was overheat. There is some better processing with the A18 Pro and the co-processors. So initially so far, it does seem like that has led to better performance, at least on the video side for me, with less overheating. I've been fortunate enough to shoot on pretty much every camera on the planet, and I am very, very grateful for that. So to be here in this place, just using a phone and not feel like I'm really giving up much, I think says everything. One thing I see a lot when it comes to iPhone footage is the comments are usually, oh, well, there's like expensive Hollywood lighting and lenses. And I really wanted to showcase that you can do a lot with just the phone. The light that I'm using is $200. I think the secret sauce, the MVP of this lighting, is the Magic Cloth Diffusion, which kind of takes any light source and makes it just incredibly soft, which is super important. And again, for me, it's all about convenience. Can I take this with me? Can I shoot anything, anywhere? And to me, that is really the most important thing. So thus far, I've dropped two things really showcasing what you can do with the camera on the 16 Pro Max. The first is a music video. It's more of a one-shot style video where everything is done in one singular take. It's kind of shocking what this phone could output and deliver, especially in these lighting conditions, because normally any regular camera would probably get destroyed. Going from an interior shot where the sun is just blasting through and then transitioning over to an exterior, to go from inside to outside like that smoothly is mind-blowing. This was shot in ProRes Log using the stock camera app, which was actually something new for me and I was a little nervous to try out. In the Blackmagic camera app, I love that you can preview the LUT or see what the end product is going to look like. So just seeing the log image in the camera app while I was shooting, I was definitely nervous, but the end result I was super happy with. The other thing I did was put together a short film using the 16 Pro Max, and this is really kind of a testament to multiple different things. The ultra wide angle lens, 120 frames per second, and really, I think this was kind of just based off of something that I'm dealing with as part of this journey. Scleral lenses are part of my life now, and while they're intimidating, I kind of just wanted to give a sneak into what that's like. That is actually uploaded to a new channel, Tech But Human, so with that, there are 3 projects. This channel, TLD, Jonathan Morrison, whatever you want to call it, Jonathan and Friends, and then Tech But Human. I get that people came to this channel and subscribed for a particular style and type of video. So I understand coming for one thing and not wanting something else. And I think really there's been a perception that I fell out of love with tech and just wanted to do music, when that is not the case at all. I think my dumbass wants to do too many things at once because that's what I enjoy. And I think finally, these three things are different enough that they can live on their own, but all, I think, tie together with story. So if you want to check those out and subscribe, definitely make sure you only do that if that's something you're into. This channel, my goal is to go back and create the traditional tech videos that you guys came here for. Jonathan and Friends is obviously music-based, diving a little bit deeper into tech as well. And then finally, Tech But Human is going to be kind of a blend of everything, where it dives into documentary work, people, storytelling, and how the tech implements there. But again, all three should relate in some way, but if you don't want the music stuff, that's fine. If you don't want the Tech But Human stuff, that's fine. You can just stay here. Or if you want to see what I'm up to, definitely check out all three. So yeah, I am a little bit tired, but I'm so thankful to be here. There was a bit of a scare over the past couple weeks where there was a shingles flare-up. Thankfully, it decided to attack a different part of my face. Jumped on it on time. Things seem to be in the right direction. And again, I am just working relentlessly every single day on getting better and just getting back to doing this. Again, I can't really express how grateful I am to be back making videos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. That iPhone 16 Pro video review is dropping very soon. So again, subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch you guys later.